The year was 530 of the Martial calendar. I stood in the testing hall of Linhai High School, watching the digital display with a sinking heart. Ning Feng, Blood Qi, 45. Physical Fitness, Level 4. Next, my homeroom teacher, Li Runin, called out. She shook her head as she looked at the monitor. I belonged to Class 1, a regular martial arts class where the average student sat around 55 points. If I wanted any hope of getting into a martial arts university, I needed at least 70 points in Blood Qi and a Level 6 physical rating. Anything less meant I'd be stuck in a liberal arts college or a trade school, far away from the life of a warrior. Last month, my Blood Qi was 47. It was actually dropping. He's probably just lazy, I heard someone whisper behind me. Doesn't he practice the basic cultivation method? Another student added. He's the brother of the class beauty, Xiao Bailu. They're like heaven and earth. Trash is trash, a third voice sneered. He shouldn't even be at this school anymore. I walked back toward my seat, keeping my head down. Suddenly, a girl with striking blue hair and a sweet face stepped into my path. She was barely 5'3", but she radiated energy. It was my sister, Xiao Bailu. She squeezed her small fist and gave me a quiet, determined look. Keep going, brother, she whispered. I managed a small smile and nodded. You too, Bailu. As I sat down, she stepped up to the testing machine. Teacher Li Runin's eyes lit up. Bailu was the star of our regular class. Honestly, she belonged in the elite class, but she'd stayed behind because her Blood Qi hadn't quite hit their entry threshold yet. Li Runin adjusted her glasses, looking hopeful. Put your hand on the crystal, Bailu. Last time you were at 76. The elite class requires 80. I think you'll make it today. Bailu pouted. She didn't look happy at all. In fact, she looked like she was praying for a low score. I knew why. She didn't want to leave me behind. The machine beeped. Student, Xiao Bailu. Blood Qi, 83. Physical Fitness, Level 6. Standard for elite class met. The teacher was ecstatic. Fantastic. You didn't just hit 80, you cleared it by 3 points. I'll take you to report to the elite class immediately. You'll even get a bottle of low-grade Blood Qi nutrient as a reward. The room erupted in whispers. Most were jealous, but some were bitter. She's finally going, someone muttered. Her talent is amazing, but I heard her family spends all their money on that loser Ning Feng instead of her. Ning Feng? He's a parasite, another girl hissed. He takes all the nutrients and his score still drops? He's holding her back. I felt the weight of their stares. At 6 feet tall and fairly good-looking, I stood out, but in this world, looks meant nothing without strength. I was the bottom of the barrel. What are you guys talking about? My brother isn't like that. My friend Gao Hai stood up, his bulky frame trembling with anger as he shouted at the gossips. I reached out and pulled his sleeve, shaking my head. Forget it, Gao Hai, I said quietly. But Brother Feng, it's fine. I'd reached the point of acceptance. For years, no matter how many supplements I took or how hard I trained, my strength just vanished. I was already planning to apply for a business college. Maybe I could just make money instead. Then, a cold, mechanical voice rang out inside my head. Target reached. Blood Qi accumulation complete. Awakening Martial God Simulation System. I froze. A translucent blue panel flickered to life in my vision. Host, Ning Feng. Physical Fitness, Level 4. Blood Qi, 45. Accumulated value, 200. I stared at that last number. 200? The requirement to become a Tier 1 warrior was only 150. This system had been sucking up my progress for years just to activate itself. You piece of... I started to curse internally, but the system didn't stop. Rewards granted. High-tier cultivation method, Great Sun Flame. Mental cultivation method, Spirit Cleansing. High-grade nutrient formula. Cultivation speed increased by 100%. Simulation space establishing. My consciousness was suddenly pulled into a void-like warehouse. 2 golden scrolls floated there, glowing with an intense light. Before I could even reach for them, they burst into particles of gold and surged into my brain. The sheer volume of information was staggering. I looked at the Great Sun Flame technique for just a second and felt my blood begin to boil. The energy was leagues beyond the trashy basic cultivation method the school gave us. Even the kids in the elite class didn't have access to stuff this powerful. They got a few thousand credits and some basic potions. I had just been handed the keys to becoming a god. and I still had that nutrient formula to look at. My days of being the class trash were officially over. I suddenly remembered the system notification about a reward. I searched through my mental warehouse and found it, a recipe for a blood chi potion. My heart skipped a beat. These formulas were classified as top secret by the Alliance. You couldn't just buy them on the open market. If you wanted a potion, you had to visit a specialized martial arts shop in the city. A low-grade bottle cost 5,000 Alliance credits. A mid-grade one went for 20,000. As for high-grade potions, you couldn't even find them in Linhai City, even though it was a provincial capital. You'd have to travel to Kyoto, the greatest city in the Dragon Kingdom, and drop a staggering 100,000 credits for a single vial. The price was insane because these potions required beast cores and rare herbs. To get a core, you had to kill a monster. Most students weren't strong enough to face a beast until they hit Tier 1 status in university. The path of the warrior was narrow. In a province of 10 million people, only 10,000 qualified for the warrior exam each year. Even at Linhai First High, the best school around, only a few dozen students made the cut annually, and almost all of them came from the elite class. Teacher Lee, can I choose not to go to the elite class? The voice came from the front of the room. It was Bai Lu. She didn't look happy about her promotion. She kept her head down, her expression troubled. What? Li Runin asked, blinking in shock. Bai Lu, this is a massive opportunity. Every student in the normal class is fighting for a spot like this. The college entrance exam is only 3 months away. The elite class has better resources and better teachers. If you have concerns, tell me. I'll help you solve them. But you can't just refuse. Li Runin was starting to sound frustrated. Bai Lu started to speak, then instinctively glanced toward the back of the classroom. Li Runin followed her gaze and immediately understood. Her voice softened, but her words were firm. You're thinking about your brother, aren't you? But Bai Lu, you have to understand that the world is cruel. Ning Feng, he might not be suited for the path of a warrior. You are different. You have talent. You have a future. I need you to agree to this. Move to the elite class starting today. Bai Lu hesitated. She didn't want to leave me behind. She liked being in class 1. Bai Lu. A voice barked from the doorway. The classroom door swung open, revealing a girl with fiery red hair. She stood there with a stern expression, staring at Bai Lu on the stage. Aside from the hair color, she looked exactly like Bai Lu. Same face, same build, same clothes. Sister? Why are you here? Bai Lu stammered, looking completely lost. The classroom erupted into whispers. The students were losing their minds. Wait, Bai Lu has a sister? They're twins. Is that Xiao Jingzhe, the class president of the elite class? She's ranked 3rd in the entire grade. I thought they just had the same last name. I didn't know they were sisters. With a sister like Xiao Jingzhe watching over her, Bai Lu's transition to the elite class would be seamless. The news was definitely going to blow up the school forums by tonight. Why wouldn't I be here? Jingzhe said, walking in. The exams are almost here. You're coming with me to the elite class. That's where you belong. Sister? Bai Lu looked at me again, her eyes pleading for help. Teacher, give us a moment, I said, stepping forward. I tried to act like the responsible big brother. I grabbed Bai Lu's hand with one hand and reached for Jingzhe with the other, but she instinctively dodged my touch. Li Runin sighed. Ning Feng, talk some sense into her. She needs those resources. If she stays here, she's wasting her potential. We moved out into the hallway. The two identical sisters stood facing each other while I stood in the middle, feeling a bit helpless. Sister, stop pushing me. Bai Lu cried out, tears welling up. I just want to stay with my brother. Jingzhe's face darkened. She turned her glare toward me. Ning Feng, did you brainwash her? Watch your tone, I said, reaching out to pat Bai Lu's head. Call me brother. Look, it's not like we're saying goodbye forever. The elite class is just in another building. It's not that far. We can still see each other. Besides, you're already ranked 1st in the normal class. Do you really want to keep overshadowing your big brother? Bai Lu let out a small, watery laugh and pouted. I'm just worried people will bully you if I'm not around. Jingzhe's eyes narrowed. Aside from him, who would dare bully Ning Feng? Don't worry, I joked, flashing a grin. Your brother is handsome. Plenty of people like me. Oh really? Bai Lu snapped, suddenly urgent. Is it that Zhang Baihe? I saw you two going to the cafeteria together. Or what about Mo Jiao Jiao? She looks at you weirdly too. I barely know them, I said, shrugging. But hey, wouldn't you want a pretty sister-in-law? I'm not talking to you anymore. You don't understand anything. Bai Lu cried, turning and running toward the school gates where the elite class shuttle bus was waiting. Jingzhe watched her go, then turned to me. She pulled a vial of mid-grade blood qi potion from her pocket and handed it to me. Take this, she said coldly. Why? You know my blood qi has been dropping, I said, crossing my arms behind my head and acting nonchalant. I know you only said those things to provoke Bai Lu into leaving, she replied. Don't worry about her. I'm the class president. No one will touch her. Oh, I said simply. So what? You're still my sister. Come on, say it. Call me brother. You shameless rogue. Jingzhe's face turned bright red. She threw the potion at me and bolted toward the bus. I caught the vial and shook my head, smiling. She was getting cuter. Sending Bai Lu to the elite class was the right move. With Jingzhe there, she'd be safe and her training would skyrocket. When I walked back into Class 1, every pair of eyes was on me. Some looked at me with pity, others with pure contempt. Gao Hai, is there something wrong with their eyes? I asked my friend. Gao Hai, who had been looking angry on my behalf, burst out laughing. Brother Feng, they were just betting on whether you'd come back crying because your sister left you behind. I rolled my eyes. Crying? This was the best thing that could have happened. Brother Feng, that girl, she looked exactly like Bai Lu. Are they really twins? Gao Hai asked, his curiosity getting the better of him. I nodded. My two sisters were indeed twins, but their personalities couldn't be more different. One was fire, the other was water. And now, with the system in my head, I finally had the power to make sure they both stayed safe. The two sisters were twins, but their personalities were worlds apart. Jingzhe was the Ice Queen, cold, silent, and intensely focused. Since joining the elite class, she stayed late every single day to train. I hadn't even seen her at home for half a month. Then there was Bai Lu. She was the water, gentle, cute, and always clinging to me since we were kids. Brother Feng, Gao Hai whispered, leaning in. How come they're named Jing and Bai, but your last name is Ning? Do you guys follow different parents' names? I rolled my eyes at him. Don't talk nonsense. We aren't blood-related. I came to the Ning family from an orphanage when I was 3 years old. I don't remember anything before that, and honestly, I didn't care to. Since the day I arrived, my uncle, Ning Xingbin, and my aunt, Li Wanfeng, treated me like their own. Most of their salaries went toward my upbringing. Every month, they spent more on my blood qi potions than they did on both of their biological daughters combined. In their eyes, I was an investment worth making. From elementary through middle school, I was the top student in the entire city. But then high school hit, and my performance plummeted. I couldn't even make the cut for the elite class. Even so, my aunt and uncle never gave up on me. They kept buying those expensive potions, hoping for a miracle. I knew the truth, though. With only 2 months left until the college entrance exams, more potions wouldn't fix a stagnant blood qi level. Without a breakthrough, I'd be stuck at some third-rate university. But things were different now. I had the system. I had high-level cultivation techniques and mental training methods. With my talent, catching up to the elite class was just a matter of time. Brother Feng, want to hit the arcade after school? Let's blow off some steam, Gao Hai suggested. Not today. I need to get home early, I replied. It was my uncle's birthday, and we were having cake. When the bell rang, I grabbed my bag and ignored the judgmental stares of my classmates. Stepping out of the school gates, I felt lighter than I had in years. The weight of my failing grades was gone. With the system in my corner, the only way was up. Half an hour later, I arrived at our apartment in Xingfu District. I unlocked the door to find my uncle sitting on the sofa, looking every bit the serious government official as he watched the news. I could hear the sizzle of a frying pan coming from the kitchen. I'm home, I called out. Xiaofeng, my uncle said, adjusting his glasses. He looked behind me. Where's Bai Lu? Usually, Bai Lu and I walked home together. She's in the elite class now, I explained. She'll be coming back with Jingzhe. He nodded slowly. I know. Jingzhe messaged me this afternoon. Don't let it bother you, Xiaofeng. Bai Lu is too kind-hearted anyway. Your aunt and I never really wanted her to attend a martial arts university. I smiled and nodded, then headed to the kitchen to help. My uncle worked for the City Bureau of Construction, and my aunt was a middle school Chinese teacher. Together, they made a decent living, about 240,000 credits a year. But with 3 kids in school and the massive cost of martial arts supplements, we barely scraped by. Xiao Feng, get out of here, I've got this. Aunt Li laughed, trying to shoo me away from the stove. It's fine, Auntie. Let me, I said, taking the spatula. Back when she was a head teacher and too busy to cook, I had learned my way around the kitchen. My specialty was braised pork trotter, Bai Lu's absolute favorite. My classmates would never believe that the school goddess Bai Lu would sit there with both hands covered in grease, gnawing on a pig's foot, but it was a common sight at our table. Aunt Li watched me with a proud smile. She genuinely loved me. So, Xiao Feng, you had your blood qi and physical tests today, right? How did it go? I kept my voice steady. About the same as last time. I wasn't ready to reveal the system yet. She went quiet for a moment, then patted my back gently. It's okay. Your academic grades are excellent. If you don't make it into a martial arts university, you can always go to a normal one. Or maybe follow me into teaching. Do you remember Teacher Hai from middle school? He was asking about you just yesterday. Teacher Hai. He was the one who introduced me to the world of martial arts. In those 3 years, I went from a total novice to a level 4 in physical fitness. Based on that trajectory, I should have been a level 8 by now, maybe even a rank 1 martial artist. But for some reason, I had stayed stuck at level 4 for years. I'll go see him when I have time, I promised. I had originally planned to visit him once I made the elite class, but my slump had made me too ashamed to show my face. Just as we were setting the table, the front door burst open. Jingzhe and Bai Lu walked in, both wearing white training uniforms from the Yuanxing dojo. Sister, I'm exhausted. Bai Lu moaned, collapsing onto the sofa. Can I please skip training tomorrow? No, Jingzhe said firmly, giving her a sharp look. The exams are in 2 months. Every bit of training counts if you want a good university. Bai Lu looked like a wilted flower until she caught a scent from the kitchen. She jumped up, her eyes sparkling. Braised pork trotter. Is brother home? He made a whole pot just for you, Aunt Li teased. Thank you, brother. Bai Lu chirped. At home, she was a different person, bubbly and energetic. She ran over to untie my apron and handed me a towel to wipe my hands. How was training? I asked. Horrible. I don't understand half the things they teach in the elite class. Brother, can you help me with my homework later? She wasn't mad about this morning anymore. She knew I only provoked her, so she'd take the chance to move up. I ruffled her hair. After all, even if I was stuck at level 4, I was still the top academic student in our grade. Helping her was the least I could do. If there's a question you can't solve, I definitely won't be able to do it, I said, tapping Bai Lu's nose with a smile. She noticed the change in me immediately. I felt lighter, more open than I had been in years. No way. Brother is the real scholar, she chirped, pouting her lips. In my eyes, you're the most amazing person ever. To her, I was still that high-spirited teenager who could conquer anything. Bai Lu, come to my room after dinner. We're continuing your training, Jingzhe interrupted. She glanced at me briefly before heading to her room to change out of her uniform. All right, it's my birthday, Uncle Shungbin said quickly, trying to keep the mood light. Let's just be happy and have some cake. Even though it was his birthday, Aunt Li had cooked all of our favorite dishes. Uncle didn't mind. Ever since Jingzhe made the elite class, we rarely saw her for dinner. She was either eating free nutritional meals at school or training at the dojo until midnight. Dad, Mom, you guys eat, Jingzhe said, looking at the spread with no appetite. She was on the verge of breaking through to become a rank 1 martial artist. Normal food simply couldn't provide the energy her body required anymore. Uncle Shungbin sighed, understanding the situation. He didn't push her. Instead, he pulled out 3 small bottles. Take this qi and blood potion then. Each bottle cost 5,000 alliance coins. He handed one to Jingzhe, one to Bai Lu, and one to me. Jingzhe took hers without a word. At her level, these low-grade potions barely did anything, but she accepted it as a gesture of his support before disappearing into her room. We finished the meal and shared the cake. Uncle Shingbin was stuffed and headed downstairs for a walk to digest, while Aunt Li rushed off to join her friends for square dancing. Soon, it was just Bai Lu and me in the living room. Brother, let me tell you a secret, Bai Lu whispered, grabbing my hand as I turned to head to my room. "What is it?" I asked. She leaned in close. "I went to the elite class today. Honestly, those students aren't that special. None of them are as handsome as you. You'll always be the best brother in the world." Before I could respond, she shoved her bottle of chi and blood potion into my hand, her face turning bright red, and bolted into her room. I stood there in the quiet hallway, looking at the 3 bottles now in my possession. Jingja had given me a mid-grade potion earlier, and now I had 2 low-grade ones from my uncle and sister. For years, Bai Lu had used every excuse imaginable to give me her share. Even if I refused, the potion would magically appear on my desk, or she'd secretly pour it into my water bottle when I wasn't looking. I shook my head, a lump forming in my throat. My family gave me everything. I had no excuse to fail. I went into my room and locked the door. "System," I whispered. "I want to cultivate." A prompt flashed in my mind instantly. Asterisk host is about to learn the Great Sun Flame cultivation technique for the first time. Enter the martial arts simulation space. Asterisk. I remembered the notification from this morning. "Yes," I said firmly. I needed to get stronger. Stronger than everyone. My consciousness plunged into total darkness. Seconds later, a blinding light emerged, expanding until a massive martial arts training field appeared before me. The floor beneath my feet was no longer wood, but stone slabs engraved with an 8-diagram pattern. In the distance, racks of weapons lined the walls: spears, twin blades, shields, swords, axes, hooks, whips, and even meteor hammers. I walked over, my eyes widening. These weren't practice toys. They were forged from raw iron. Each one was worth at least 100,000 Alliance coins. At school, we used blunt iron tools. Only rank 1 martial artists were usually allowed to handle weapons of this caliber. Based on the Great Sun Flame cultivation technique, suitable weapons include long spear, meteor hammer, long whip. I realized then that this system was different. Usually, cultivation meant sitting still and doing breathing exercises to convert food into energy. The better the technique, the faster the conversion. But the system was suggesting I train with a weapon to increase my martial artistry. My spear, fist, and movement skills were all at the top of level 1, sitting at 99%. I had spent the last 3 years obsessively practicing these techniques because my physical stats wouldn't budge. I was technically more skilled than almost anyone in the regular classes, but I'd never been able to prove it. Testing machines for technique cost tens of millions of coins. Only the elite class kids got to see their scores. You have selected the long spear. Entering simulation battlefield. Preparation complete. Simulation synced at 80%. I didn't hesitate. I grabbed the spear. It felt perfect in my hand, balanced and lethal. The stone training ground dissolved. The walls vanished. Suddenly, I was standing in the middle of a vast, rolling green field. A cool breeze brushed against my face, smelling of fresh grass. Ding! You have arrived at the simulated battlefield, the Kerr Prairie. I squinted as the sunlight hit my eyes. Everything looked too real. The breeze felt genuine, and the scent of the grass was unmistakable. I was standing in the middle of a vast prairie. Instinctively, I tightened my grip on the long spear and took a few cautious steps forward. Suddenly, several green figures darted out from the distance. They were clutching wooden clubs and charging straight at me, letting out high-pitched, piercing shrieks. Green-skinned beasts. My heart skipped a beat. I hadn't expected to encounter rank 1 monsters like these so soon. I remembered my history lessons. After the great technological explosion, humanity discovered the Star Realm, a gateway that allowed for the transport of resources across space. It boosted our civilization, but it also brought monsters. At first, humans enslaved them. Then, superpowered creatures emerged. They were immune to conventional weapons and possessed terrifying intelligence. They nearly wiped us out until the first martial artist appeared. I had always aced my history exams, so I knew exactly what I was looking at. These greenskins were only about 1.2 meters tall. They were rank 1, meaning they were roughly as strong as an untrained adult. My grades at school were average, but my physical stats were at rank 4. I could punch with 98 kilograms of force and run 8 meters per second. I was far beyond a normal human. Time to test this spear technique, I muttered. As the monsters closed in, I took a deep breath and dropped into a low crouch. Then, I exploded forward. In a single second, I covered 8 meters, closing the gap instantly. I raised the spear and swung it in a massive horizontal arc with every ounce of my strength. Whirlwind Slash. It was my strongest B-rank skill. By using my momentum, I could boost my power by 50%. I didn't care if they were just rank 1. I wasn't going to hold back. The raw iron spear tore through the air. A faint trail of flame ignited at the tip from the sheer friction. Asterisk squelch. 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 Asterisk. The blade didn't even slow down. Green blood sprayed across the grass as the monsters shrieked and collapsed. Asterisk ding. You are practicing the Great Sun Flame cultivation technique. Cultivation speed, 100%. You have successfully killed 5 goblins. Obtained 5 rank 1 monster spirit cores. Asterisk. I hit the ground hard, sitting in the grass and rubbing my right arm. It was my right arm throbbing. Using Whirlwind Slash had drained my stamina significantly. Is it because of the cultivation technique? I wondered. During the fight, I had felt a searing heat rushing through my veins. My blood felt like it was boiling. Even now, resting in the grass, that heat hadn't vanished. It had just slowed down. But it felt good. My blood chi felt stronger. I checked the system warehouse. Inside were 2 bottles of nutrition potion and 5 green, fist-sized spirit cores. On the black market, a single rank 1 core was worth 2,000 alliance coins. Usually, only half of the monsters you kill drop 1, but I had gotten 5 for 5. A notification popped up as I touched a core. Asterisk, you have obtained 5 rank 1 spirit cores. You can now attempt to learn the advanced blood chi nutrition potion formula. Asterisk. I felt a surge of excitement. I thought the formula I'd earned earlier would be useless for a while, but the simulation actually dropped the materials I needed. If I could stay here indefinitely, I could farm a fortune in spirit cores alone. Then, I noticed something else. 3 bottles of blood chi potion appeared in the warehouse. These were from my real-world stash. If I could access real items here, it meant the items I found here could be taken back to reality. I pulled out 2 low-grade potions and downed them. Asterisk ding. You have consumed a low-grade blood chi nutrition potion. Asterisk. Cultivation effect increased by 10% for 30 minutes. Asterisk. Only 10%. I muttered. I had used these before, but I'd never known the exact stats because my blood chi never moved. I stood up and stretched. I had 30 minutes to make this count. The prairie seemed endless. I walked another 100 meters before another pack of greenskins spotted me. They licked their lips, their eyes filled with bloodlust. These things were vile. They loved to torture and eat humans. I felt zero guilt about killing them. I prepared to strike, but the pack suddenly froze. They stepped back, making way for a massive figure. A 2-meter-tall goblin carrying a spiked bone club stomped forward. Asterisk greenskin leader. Rank 4. Strength. 80 kg. Asterisk. I blinked. A leader? My textbooks said only 1 leader was born for every 10,000 greenskins. The leader let out a guttural roar. It didn't charge. Instead, it barked orders at its subordinates, sending them rushing toward me. Smart bastards, I hissed. I didn't waste my whirlwind slash this time. I darted to the side, using my superior speed to flank them. I thrust the spear forward in a blur of motion. Thrust, thrust, thrust. The spearhead left a trail of afterimages. Each strike found its mark, punching holes through the monster's chests. Green blood soaked the earth as the last of the small ones fell. Now, it was just me and the leader. The greenskin leader was furious. It swung its massive spiked bone club and lunged toward my back, clearly aiming to crush my skull into paste. I felt the rush of dangerous air behind me, but I didn't panic. I didn't even turn around. I ducked low, feeling the wind from the club whistle just inches above my head. In one fluid motion, I spun my left leg around in a 180-degree sweep. My boot connected solidly, tripping the massive beast and sending it crashing to the dirt. Die, I hissed. I didn't give it a chance to get back up. I unleashed my whirlwind slash, the spearhead whistling through the air toward its thick neck. The sound was like a pair of sharp scissors slicing through heavy silk. A second later, the massive, hideous green head went flying into the sky. Ding! You have successfully killed a greenskin leader. You have obtained a grade 4 spirit core. While in combat, cultivation effectiveness increased by 10%. My victory was short-lived. A wave of exhaustion hit me like a physical wall. My mental energy was completely drained. Before I could even celebrate the kill, my vision went black. I collapsed. I don't know how much time passed, but when I finally opened my eyes, I was staring at the ceiling of my bedroom. I was back in the real world. I checked the clock immediately. 2 hours had passed. Why did I faint? I muttered, rubbing my temples. A system prompt flickered in my mind. Asterisk host's mental energy is insufficient to support long-term cultivation. Please upgrade your mental strength. Asterisk. Then I remembered. I had already obtained a technique for this, the Spirit Cleansing Manual. Unlike physical cultivation, which required me to fight in the simulation, mental cultivation happened in the mind space. I followed the instructions, closed my eyes, and cleared my thoughts. I began to chant the formula under my breath. Asterisk, you are now practicing mental cultivation. You may cancel at any time. Asterisk. I fell into a trance-like state, somewhere between dreaming and waking. When the morning sun finally hit my face, I snapped my eyes open. I felt incredible. Even though I hadn't slept a wink, I was bursting with energy. The Spirit Cleansing Manual didn't just build mental strength. It wiped away fatigue better than a full night's rest. This was a game changer. It meant I could theoretically train 24 hours a day. My blood chi felt stronger, and my muscles felt more defined. The Great Sunflame technique was leagues ahead of the basic stuff they taught at school. I'm heading to school, I shouted. I washed up quickly, grabbed an egg and a glass of milk, and headed for the door. My aunt, Li Wanfong, ran out of the kitchen with a plate of warm sandwiches. Xiaofeng, wait. Take these. I'm not hungry, Auntie. I laughed, already halfway out the door. My uncle, Xiao Xingbin, walked out of his room with messy hair, rubbing his eyes. He watched me run off and blinked in surprise. Was that Xiaofeng? He was smiling. I haven't seen him smile like that in a long time. He really did seem happy, Li Wanfong said, a bit emotional. I wish he could be like he was in middle school again. He was so bright back then. I don't know what happened once he hit high school. Xiao Xingbin sighed. As long as he and the girls grow up healthy, that's enough. His father died on the beast battlefield. Honestly, I'd rather he be an ordinary person than follow in those footsteps. I didn't hear any of that. I was already on the subway. 30 minutes later, I stepped off at the station near Linhai First High School. Feng Ji. I didn't need to turn around to know who it was. Gao Hai. Keep it down. Gao Hai, I said, shaking my head. Hey, where's your sister? He asked, catching up. Then he slapped his own forehead. Right, I'm an idiot. She moved to the elite class yesterday. Sorry, man. It's fine, I said. It's better for her there. Anyway, we have martial arts theory this morning. You gotta help me out. Your fist techniques are okay, but I'm struggling. I can't help you with fists, I told him. I'm focusing on the spear now. We walked into the classroom, but before we could even sit down, a large group of students blocked our way. At the front was a girl who looked fragile and soft. Mo Jiao. She was our class monitor, though she only got the job because she cried for hours when I originally won the vote. I had stepped down just to make her stop. Lin Yuan, can I talk to you about something? She asked, her voice small and trembling like I was already bullying her. What is it? I asked, frowning. Well, our class has 10 slots for the student aid grant. It's technically your turn to receive one, she said, looking at the floor. But I was hoping you'd give your slot to Lin Yin instead. Gao Hai exploded. What kind of crap is that, Mo Jiao? We agreed the grants would go in order so everyone gets a turn. Why should Feng Ji give his to Lin Yin? Oh, wait, I know. Lin Yin is your boyfriend. You're just playing favorites. Mo Jiao's eyes immediately welled up with tears. How can you say that? I'm just doing what's best for the class. The girls surrounding her immediately turned on us. Gao Hai, shut up. Lin Yuan, are you even a man? You're making her cry. Besides, your grades are terrible. Giving you the grant money is just a waste anyway. It would be better to let the class monitor handle the arrangements. One of the girls sneered, her voice loud enough for the whole room to hear. Exactly, another chimed in. I don't even know why Lin Yuan is still in class 1. He's an embarrassment to all of us. Lin Yan's martial arts scores are second only to Bai Lu's. Now that Bai Lu has moved to the elite class, Lin Yan is officially number 1 here. Giving her the grant so she can make it into the elite class too. Is that really so much to ask? They glared at me with pure disgust. Lin Yuan, you're honestly pathetic. These were Mo Jiaojiao's best friends, and they were circling like vultures. They kept talking over each other, trying to bury me under a mountain of guilt. A moment later, Lin Yin herself walked over. She was wearing her athletic gear, looking tall and confident. At 6 feet tall with a powerful build, she was the class sports representative. She was also the one who had convinced me to step down as class monitor for Mo Jiaojiao in the first place. She put a hand on Mo Jiaojiao's shoulder to comfort her. Jiaojiao, don't waste your tears on a loser, Lin Yin said, her voice dripping with fake nobility. I wanted that money so I could lead our sports team to victory against the other classes. I wanted to bring glory to this class. But clearly, some people don't care about team honor. We shouldn't even consider him a member of Class 1 anymore. That did it. The neutral students started nodding. Lin Yuan, just let it go, someone said. Your family isn't starving. Give the slot to Lin Yin. She'll actually use it to make us look good. Yeah, life isn't fair, man. Just take the hit for the team. Lin Yin is so cool, a girl whispered nearby. She's handsome, talented, and totally outclasses Lin Yuan. I hadn't even opened my mouth yet, but Gao Hai couldn't take it anymore. He slammed his hand on his desk and stood up, pointing a finger right at Lin Yan's nose. Lin Yan, quit acting. Gao Hai barked. You're only targeting Lin Yuan because you tried to hit on Bai Lu behind everyone's back, and we found out about it. You're just embarrassed and taking it out on him. He didn't stop there. He whipped around to face Mo Jiaojiao. And you. Cry, cry, cry. That's all you do. If we knew you were this much of a waterworks show, we wouldn't have voted for you to be monitor. We would have made you the water dispenser manager. I know what you're doing. You're just sucking up to Lin Yin because you have a crush on her. Take a look in the mirror. Do you really think you're her type? She's just using you. The second she gets into that elite class, she'll kick you to the curb. The room went dead silent. Gao Hai grew up in the rough parts of town. He knew how to fight with his tongue. His words hit like a machine gun, leaving everyone stunned. The gossip started instantly. Lin Yin had a girlfriend, but was chasing Bai Lu. Bai Lu was the class beauty. Everyone liked her. Suddenly, the noble Lin Yin didn't look so heroic anymore. What the hell are you talking about? Lin Yin roared, her face turning a deep shade of purple. Gao Hai had hit the nail on the head. She didn't give a damn about Mo Jiaojiao. She wanted a genius like Bai Lu. Mo Jiaojiao was just a stepping stone. Mo Jiaojiao stood there, frozen. For once, she didn't cry. She stole a glance at Lin Yin, and for a split second, I saw a flash of resentment in her eyes. Jiaojiao, don't listen to his lies. You know I love you. Lin Yin scrambled to explain. She couldn't afford a fallout yet, not until she secured her spot in the elite class. I know. Mo Jiaojiao said quietly, her head down. She didn't mention the grant money again. She just walked silently back to her seat. Gao Hai spat on the floor. Trash, he muttered, thinking they can just scheme against my brother. Lin Yin clenched her fists until her knuckles turned white. If it weren't for Gao Hai, her plan would have worked perfectly. She had been the one to suggest the grand idea to Mo Jiaojiao, staying in the shadows while Mo Jiaojiao did the dirty work. Fine, Lin Yin hissed, giving us a cold, murderous look. Just you wait. Don't let those snakes get to you. Gao Hai whispered as we sat down. I'm fine, I said, shaking my head. In the past, when my sister Bai Lu was still in the class, I stayed quiet. I didn't want to cause trouble or make her an outcast because of me. But she was gone now. I didn't have to hold back anymore. I know how strong you really are, Gao Hai continued. Your blood qi hasn't moved, but your technique is incredible. Even the teachers say so. I still remember when you saved me from those thugs with nothing but a wooden stick. Lin Yin is just a bully. She doesn't deserve anything of yours. I smiled. I don't care about the money. But that doesn't mean I'll let people plot against me. Damn right, Gao Hai shouted. In the front row, Lin Yan's back stiffened. She looked like she wanted to turn around and swing at us. Just then, our homeroom teacher, Li Runin, walked in. She was beaming. Class, listen up. This morning is for martial arts technique testing. We're taking the school bus to the North Campus Martial Arts Hall. The room erupted in whispers. The South Campus was for ordinary students like us. The North Campus was the kingdom of the elite class. The North Campus? That's where the elites are. We might see Bai Lu. I'm nervous. What if they look down on us for being from the South? Li Runin signaled for silence. Mo Jiao, lead the line to the bus. Once we're there, stay together. We're just there to use the testing machines since the South Campus doesn't have them. Don't wander off. Yes, teacher, Mo Jiao said, acting like a shy little lamb again. Lin Yin, you and the sports team need to work hard. I have high expectations for you, the teacher added. She didn't teach the technique classes. That was handled by a combat veteran named Old Wu. But she was convinced Lin Yin was our best shot at success. Aren't you coming with us? Lin Yin asked. No, Old Wu will take you from here. A moment later, a rugged man with a thick beard stepped into the room. It was Old Wu. Everyone, he barked. Follow me down. Now. Today's martial arts memory test is critical, Old Wu barked as he led us out. It counts for 50% of your college entrance score. I've told you 1,000 times to practice, but most of you didn't listen. Today, you're going to see exactly how far behind you really are. As he spoke, he glanced back at the very last row. His eyes didn't linger on the crowd. They landed straight on me. Out of the entire class, I was the only one he actually respected. The rest of the students started panicking. Man, Old Wu is leading the group? I'm dead. I spent every martial arts class just killing time. Don't sweat it, someone whispered. Maybe the machines will glitch and give us high scores. We can't be that much worse than the elite class, right? Exactly, another added. Plus, we have Lin Yin. She's the sports team captain. She'll show them what we're made of. Old Wu heard the chatter and just shook his head. He knew exactly what they were thinking, but he didn't bother arguing. He just stepped onto the school bus and waited. Once we were all packed in, the driver headed straight for the North Campus. Half an hour later, the bus pulled to a stop. Listen up, Old Wu ordered. No wandering off. Stay behind me and head straight to the martial arts hall. We followed him out, and my classmates immediately started gawking like tourists. The North Campus was massive. Some tried to act unimpressed, claiming it wasn't much better than our South Campus, but their eyes told a different story. Look, those are the elite class students, a girl whispered. Their uniforms were different, sharper, more expensive. Some of our girls looked down at their own clothes and suddenly felt ashamed. They're totally looking down on us, one grumbled. Just because they're in the elite class, they think they're better than everyone? Old Wu didn't turn around, but his voice was cold. Don't be so full of yourselves. They aren't looking down on you. They don't even care you exist. He sighed to himself. He hated how the school kept us separated. It made the regular students live like frogs at the bottom of a well, thinking the tiny patch of sky they saw was the whole world. He knew the harsh reality. 90% of these kids would never make it to a martial arts university. They'd end up in trade schools, learning a basic skill just to survive. What's with Old Wu today? Someone muttered. He's in a terrible mood. Just ignore him, Lin Yin said loudly. My blood chi is top 10 in the class. My memory score won't be low either. Now that Bai Lu is gone, I'm the undisputed number one. Lin Yin walked next to Mo Jiao with her chin held high. She felt like a queen. She heard that school leaders and elite teachers were watching today. If she performed well enough, she might get scouted for the elite class. Then she could go back to chasing Bai Lu. Or maybe that red-haired girl from yesterday, Xiao Jingzhe. Her eyes gleamed with a predatory, twisted smile. To her, Mo Jiao was just a pretty face, not nearly enough to satisfy her ambitions. We reached a high-tech hall that looked like something out of a sci-fi movie. Standing at the entrance was a woman in a stunning qipao. Teacher Hai Ryue, Old Wu said, stepping forward with respect. She was the head teacher of the elite class, a rank 2 martial artist who produced top-tier graduates every year. Hello, Teacher Wu, she said, tucking a strand of hair behind her ear. These are the students from grade 1, ordinary class. Old Wu introduced us. The student Bai Lu came from this group. Hai Ryue scanned us, but I saw the flash of disappointment in her eyes. She had only come out because of Bai Lu's incredible performance in the spirit test earlier that morning. She had hoped there might be another hidden genius buried in the regular classes. But one look at the group told her we were average at best. She hid it well, though, keeping a professional smile. Let's go inside. The hall was massive, built with reinforced materials that cost millions. We had to scan our IDs just to enter. Inside, the place was divided into zones the size of football fields, filled with expensive machinery. Suddenly, a blur streaked across a 100-meter track. So fast, someone yelled. A student had finished the sprint in under 6 seconds. That was over 16 meters per second, a rank 7 physical stat. That meant his blood chi was at least 95. Most of us were barely hovering around 50. Is he even human? The machine has to be broken. A classmate stammered, his face turning pale. Rank 7? That's impossible. The confidence of the ordinary class shattered instantly. Seeing the gap in person was a different kind of pain. Teacher Wu, let's start by testing their blood chi, Hai Ryu suggested. Then we'll do physical stats and finish with martial arts memory. She was being generous. Usually, we were only scheduled for the memory test, but she wanted to give us every chance to show some spark of talent. We headed to the second floor. It was even more crowded. This floor was for training, packed with public and private dojos. As we walked into the main training area, dozens of students stopped what they were doing and turned to stare. They were the best of the best, Hai Ryu's elite class grade 1. Teacher Hai, look, she brought a whole group of students with her. The elite class students started to drift over, curious to see the newcomers. But before they could get close, a girl in a white martial arts uniform stood at the front of their line. Her red hair caught the light as she barked a sharp command. Shut up. Focus on your training. No wandering around. That was Xiao Jingjia. With one word, she froze everyone in their tracks. Listen to your class monitor, Teacher Hai said with a smile, clearly relieved to have someone as disciplined as Xiao Jingjia keeping order. I'm just here to test the ordinary class. It has nothing to do with you. Suddenly, a blue-haired girl standing next to Xiao Jingjia spotted us. Her face lit up, and she waved frantically. Brother, it was Xiao Bailu, my younger sister. I raised a hand and waved back. Bailu. She tried to break formation to come toward me, but a pale, slender hand grabbed her arm. Bailu, keep training, Xiao Jingjia said, her voice like ice. She walked over to me, her bare feet hitting the floor with silent precision. She stared me down, her expression cold. What are you doing here? Didn't you hear Teacher Hai? I shrugged, trying to keep it casual. We're here for the martial arts memory test. Xiao Jingjia let out a cold snort. Then, making sure no one was looking, she reached out and gave the soft skin at my waist a sharp, painful pinch. Don't distract Bailu, she whispered harshly. She just awakened her spiritual talent. She can't afford to play around with you. I gasped, the sting blooming across my side. Man, this girl had a grip like a vice. Jingjia, what do you take me for? I'm your brother too, you know. Who knows what you're thinking, she muttered, shooting me one last sharp look before turning away. The entire elite class was staring at me now. The whispers started almost instantly. Is that the monitor's brother? He's actually pretty handsome. Lucky guy having 2 genius sisters. Wait, why is the monitor so mean to him? I heard rumors. They say Ning Feng is a total deadbeat with 0 talent. Apparently, he just bullies his sisters and leeches off them. In the middle of the elite class, a small group gathered around a boy with black hair and blue eyes. His name was Lan Qian. Beside him was Lin Hai, the 3rd-ranked student in the school. Lan Qian was the undisputed king of the grade, rank 1 in martial arts. He had been chasing Xiao Jingjia for 3 years, even stepping down as class monitor just so she could have the title. He wanted her favor more than anything. So, that's your future brother-in-law? Someone teased. Lan Qian gave a dismissive laugh and shook his head. My sources say they aren't even blood-related. He's just a long-term guest in the Xiao household. Actually, guest is too kind. He's a parasite, greedy and shameless. Once he turns 18, he'll be kicked out. A genius like Jingjia shouldn't be dragged down by a loser brother. Lan Qian was the grandson of the Lan family patriarch. His influence was massive. With one phone call, he had unearthed every detail of the Xiao family's private business. If it weren't for his obsession with Xiao Jingjia, he would have transferred to a top school in the capital long ago. So that's it, a student sneered. No wonder she hates him. If I were that shameless, I'd have ended it already. I know some guys in the ordinary class. Maybe I'll have them teach him a lesson for the monitor. Beside me, my friend Gao Hai looked worried. Feng, you okay? I just shrugged. It's fine. She's always like this. I'm used to it. I knew the truth. Xiao Jingjia acted cold in public to protect me. If people thought she cared too much, the jealousy and gossip would only get worse for me. Besides, she was the one who secretly slipped me that high-grade blood chi potion yesterday. Her heart was in the right place, even if her attitude wasn't. We moved toward the blood chi testing room. Teacher Wu Yin stood at the front with a clipboard. I've submitted the list. We'll go in order. First student, Imo Jiao Jiao. The elite class students crowded around, curious to see what we were made of. Imo Jiao Jiao looked terrified. She clutched her chest, glanced at me, then at the teachers, and finally stepped into the room. Inside was a high-precision machine, far more accurate than the cheap portable ones we used in class. She placed her hand inside. A moment later, the results flashed onto a massive screen for everyone to see. Name, Imo Jiao Jiao. Age, 18. Blood Chi, 58.35. Talent, D rank. Imo Jiao Jiao let out a breath of relief. She had gained 0.35 points since yesterday. But when she walked out, she saw Teacher Wu and Teacher Hai frowning. They weren't impressed. Then, the laughter started. The elite class erupted. 58.35? Is this a joke? That's their class monitor? That score won't even get her into the worst martial arts college in the country. D-rank talent? I thought C was the lowest it went. The ordinary class really is a waste of time. To them, we were a circus act. To get into the elite class, you needed at least 80 points. Even little Bai Lu, the lowest in their class, was miles ahead of us. Xiao Jingjia and Lan Xian were already well over 100. Xiao Jingjia patted Bai Lu's shoulder. Don't worry. You have talent. You'll catch up. In her mind, the only reason Bai Lu had been stuck in the ordinary class for so long was because I had been stealing her resources. Bai Lu just pouted, her eyes never leaving me. My classmates looked confused. In our world, Imo Jiao Jiao's score was decent, middle of the pack. We didn't understand why they were laughing. We didn't realize how wide the gap really was. Teacher Wu didn't change his expression. He just looked at the list and called the next name. Wang Dabong. You're up. Teacher Hai's face soured. The disappointment was written all over her. It was clear what she was thinking. These students lacked both talent and grit. None of them were going to be like little Bai Lu. None of them were making it into the elite class. The next 10 minutes were brutal. One by one, my classmates stepped into the machine. One by one, the results came back worse than the last. Across the way, the laughter from the elite class grew louder and more jagged. Are they seriously mocking us? Someone whispered behind me. You're just realizing that now? Another replied. I want to see how high their blood chi actually is. Forget it. Bai Lu's blood chi is 80, and she's ranked dead last in their class. That hit my classmates like a physical blow. What? No way. Our star student is their bottom feeder? I can't accept that. Suddenly, the crowd shifted. Look, Lin Yin is going in. Lin Yin was our second best, right behind Bai Lu. We all hoped she could finally shut those elite students up. As she walked out of the crowd, she looked composed, but her eyes were fixed on the elite class. She had heard the jeers. In her mind, she wasn't one of us. She saw the ordinary class as a pile of trash, and if she were on the other side, she'd be laughing even louder. If I hit 80, I'm out of here, she must have been thinking. I'm never staying with these losers again. She stepped into the testing room. Moments later, the screen lit up. Name, Lin Yin. Age, 19. Blood Chi, 80.01. Talent, C rank. I made it. Lin Yan's voice cracked with pure joy. I hit the threshold. I'm going to the elite class. She was ecstatic. To her, being the sports representative of an ordinary class meant nothing. The scholarships meant nothing. She was ready to dump her girlfriend, Imo Jiao Jiao, right then and there if it meant getting better resources. She started laughing, a wild, triumphant sound. But the elite class stayed silent for a heartbeat before erupting into even louder hysterics. Does she really think 80 points gets her in? One guy gasped between laughs. That's hilarious. If it were that easy, our class wouldn't be worth anything. A peasant trying to climb the ladder, another sneered. How pathetic. One of them looked at Xiao Jingjia. Class monitor, don't look at me like that. I'm not talking about your sister. But the rest of these people? They're just frogs at the bottom of a well. Lin Yan's laughter died. She stood there, frozen and confused. But they said 80 was the mark. Why are they still laughing? Teacher Hai stepped forward to break the tension. Student Lin Yan, if you had hit 80 during your second year, you could have applied. But for seniors, the rules change. Now, you also need a spiritual talent of B rank or higher. Lin Yan looked at the screen. Her talent was AC, just one grade short. Spiritual talent measures your compatibility with the 9 great cultivation methods, Teacher Hai explained. The higher the grade, the easier it is to learn them. Our country has 9 top-tier martial arts universities founded by grandmasters. To even qualify to learn their techniques, you need a B rank. Then how did Bailu get in? Lin Yan demanded, her voice trembling with resentment. Teacher Hai sighed. Because her spiritual talent is A rank. The courtyard went silent. A rank. Most of us were D rank or lower. Lin Yan was the only C. To hear that Bailu was an A-rank genius was a reality check none of us were prepared for. Teacher Hai had only come today hoping to find another hidden gem like her, but she was clearly disappointed. Lin Yan's dream shattered. She had imagined going to the elite class and even hitting on the Xiao sisters. Now, she was stuck with us. Mo Jiao hurried over to comfort her. It's okay, Lin Yan. You're still number 1 in our class. She had been terrified Lin Yan would actually leave her. Get lost. Lin Yan snapped, her face twisting in rage. I don't want to be in this garbage class. She had spent so much money on supplements, worked so hard to hit that 80 mark, only to be told that effort couldn't beat raw talent. Teacher Wu didn't care about the drama. He just looked down at his clipboard. Next, Ning Feng. Brother Feng, you're up, Gao Hai called out. I nodded and stepped forward. I brushed past Lin Yan, who was still fuming, and headed toward the testing room. Teacher Hai recognized my name. She had heard about Xiao Jingzhe's brother in the ordinary class. He used to be a top student, but for some reason, his blood qi had been dropping for years. It made no sense. At 18, your blood qi should be peaking, even without training. Unless you were sick or dying, it shouldn't go down. She glanced at her tablet. My last recorded score was 45. Only 45? She muttered, shaking her head. With a score that low, I wouldn't even get into a third-rate college. Blood qi was the foundation of everything. If that failed, nothing else mattered. I ignored the stares and stepped into the machine. Teacher Hai looked at my file, her brow furrowed. My blood qi was only 45. That was a death sentence for a martial arts career. Teacher Hai, Ning Feng's blood qi might be low, but his combat techniques are exceptional. Teacher Wu interjected. He was usually cold and silent, but now he was actually speaking up for me. Combat techniques. Teacher Hai looked curious. I suspect his proficiency in the spear, fist, and movement techniques have all broken through to level 1, Teacher Wu said. Teacher Hai's eyes widened. Level 1. Even in the elite class, most students only manage to get 1 technique to that level. Having 3 at level 1 was unheard of. Are you serious, Teacher Wu? She asked. If that's true, his talent alone earns him a spot in the elite class. You can buy supplements for blood qi, but technique only comes from years of grueling practice. Teacher Wu nodded. He had taught the class his signature move, the whirlwind slash, but I was the only one who had truly mastered it through sheer persistence. Fine, Teacher Hai decided. We'll test his technique scores later. If he's really that good, I'll get special permission from the principal. A talent like that shouldn't be buried. She turned back to the monitor. But can he still get in if his blood qi doesn't meet the standard? Teacher Wu asked, still worried. We'll see, she replied. Boosting blood qi is easy once you're in the elite class. You get access to the 9 great cultivation methods. That would fix his deficiency in no time. I didn't hear any of their conversation. I was already inside the testing room. The machine was a 3-meter-tall fluorescent beast that cost millions of credits. I sat down and slid my hand into the sensor. Beep. Testing in progress. Please wait. Seconds ticked by. Usually, the test took moments, but the machine stayed silent. I started to wonder if it was broken. Outside, the crowd was getting restless. What's taking so long? Someone shouted. Is he hiding in there because he's embarrassed? Maybe he doesn't know how to use it, another laughed. He's wasting everyone's time. Gao Hai looked like he wanted to burst in to check on me, but Teacher Wu held him back. Even Teacher Hai was confused. This only happened during automatic recalibration, when a student's data was so wildly different from their last record that the machine had to double-check itself. His blood chi must have dropped even further. Teacher Hai sighed. The machine is struggling to find a baseline. Over by the elite class, the atmosphere was different. Bai Lu was gripping her skirt, her eyes glued to the door. Xiao Jingjia stood next to her, arms crossed, looking indifferent. His last score was 45, Xiao Jingjia muttered. It's not going to go up in a day. He'll be lucky if it hasn't crashed to zero. Sister, your hands are shaking, Bai Lu whispered. No, they aren't, Xiao Jingjia snapped, though her face was pale. Suddenly, a collective gasp rippled through the crowd. People started screaming. No way. Is the machine broken? Look at the screen. Xiao Jingjia looked up, and her jaw dropped. The giant display outside the room updated with my results. Asterisk student, Ning Feng. Age, 18. Blood chi, 75.09. Error margin, 0.001%. Physical grade, 6. Spirit talent, S-class, maximum limit, asterisk. The silence that followed was deafening. Xiao Jingjia stumbled back 2 steps. My blood chi hadn't just recovered. It had nearly doubled in a single day. But that wasn't the shocker. S-class spirit talent. There were only 3 S-class students in the entire elite class. Xiao Jingjia was one of them, but she had worked for years to raise her talent from an A to an S. I hadn't even started a cultivation method yet, and I had already hit the machine's ceiling. It's impossible, Xiao Jingjia whispered, her eyes trembling. How can he be in S-class? I knew it. Bai Lu screamed, jumping for joy. I told you he wasn't a loser. He's a genius. The boy they had all looked down on was back. And this time, I was stronger than any of them imagined. Hai Riyue and Wu Yinxing snapped out of their shock first. They didn't just walk toward me. They ran. Ning Feng, you've completely blown me away. Hai Riyue exclaimed, her voice thick with excitement. She didn't even give Wu Yinxing a chance to speak. A talent like yours should have been in the elite class a long time ago. S-class, this is going to shake the entire Linhai First High School. While the teachers were celebrating, a different kind of storm was brewing nearby. Lan Xian was standing with his usual circle of sycophants, watching the screen with narrowed eyes. Before the results had flashed, they were busy mocking me. Look, that loser Ning Feng went into test. One of them had sneered, pointing at the door. What do you think he'll get? Last time his blood chi wasn't even 50. His talent is probably level 1. Level 1, another laughed. I've never even seen a talent that pathetic. But hey, a trash person deserves a trash talent, right? Lan Xian had let out a cold snort, radiating superiority. 3 years of high school, and his blood chi is that low? Someone like him doesn't deserve to practice martial arts. If he's smart, I might offer him a job at one of my family's small factories. On one condition, though, he has to leave the Xiao family forever and never see Jingjia or Bai Lu again. His cronies had chimed in immediately, calling him mighty and saying he was the only one worthy of Xiao Jingjia. They called me a stray dog, a parasite sucking the life out of my foster family. Lan Xian had glanced at Xiao Jingjia with a look of possessive greed. He wanted her, and he saw me as nothing more than a pebble in his shoe. Then, the gasp went up. The results hit the screen. Lan Xian's jaw dropped. His eyes bulged as he stared at the glowing letters. Impossible. That guy in S-class. His friends looked like they had seen a ghost. The machine must be broken. How could a loser be S-class? I only have an A-class talent. This is wrong. We need to talk to Teacher Hai. They shouted, their voices cracking with desperation. They couldn't accept it. In their world, I was the bottom of the barrel. If I was an S-class, what did that make them? The students from the ordinary class were just as stunned. The whispers turned into a roar of disbelief. Is this real? He went from 45 to over 70 in a day? An S-class, that's the highest in the whole grade. Even Lin Yin only has a C-class. Wait, someone else piped up. Remember the high school entrance exams? Ning Feng ranked first in the entire school back then. His foundation was always solid. You're right. I went to middle school with him. He was a genius back then. Maybe we really underestimated him. But no one was taking it harder than Lin Yin. He had just been rejected from the elite class, and seeing my name at the top was like a slap to the face. Impossible, Lin Yin screamed, stepping forward. His face was contorted with rage, his eyes bloodshot. Teacher, I suspect Ning Feng is using illegal stimulants. How else does someone jump from 45 to 71 blood qi in 24 hours? It's not scientific. I demand a full investigation. He looked like a man who had just had his inheritance stolen. He couldn't handle the reality that this salty fish he had looked down on for 3 years was suddenly a shark. I suspect him too, Mo Jiao added, her voice trembling. She was the class monitor, a position she had taken from me when my stats plateaued. If I rose back up, she knew her status was gone. I've kept records of everyone's data. He must be cheating. Hai Ryu turned to look at them, her expression calm. She knew about stimulants. In the world of martial arts, people used them to cheat in sports or movies, but they were dangerous and incredibly expensive. Stimulants can boost blood qi for a short time, Hai Ryu said, shaking her head. But they cannot change your spirit talent. That is something you are born with. It cannot be faked. What if he took a drug that tricks the machine? Lin Yin yelled, his voice reaching a fever pitch. If he's so talented, why has he been a failure for 3 years? I don't accept this. He was seeing his future slip away. He knew that with an S-class rating, I was a lock for the elite class, taking the spot he thought belonged to him. Lin Yin, that's enough, Wu Yinxing snapped, his face darkening. He knew how hard I worked behind the scenes. Oh, are you in on it, Teacher Wu? Lin Yin spat, completely losing his mind. Did he pay you? Is that why you always give him private lessons during combat class? You're just trying to cover up his cheating. I stepped out of the testing room then, the cold air hitting my face. I looked at Lin Yin and let out a short, dry laugh. You say I cheated, I said, my voice steady and cold. Do you have proof? My friend Gao Han jumped in beside me. Yeah, Lin Yin. Where's your evidence? Or are you just a sore loser? Lin Yin stammered, his eyes darting away from mine. He was used to me staying silent while he insulted me. He wasn't used to me biting back. I don't need proof. It's just common sense. Enough of this drama, Hai Ryu interrupted, her voice booming with authority. The blood qi test is over. We have work to do. Everyone, move to the next stations for physical fitness and martial arts technique testing. I didn't say another word. I didn't have to. The look on Lin Yan's face was better than any comeback I could have scripted. The test wasn't over yet, and I was just getting started. Mo Jiao leaned in close to Lin Yan, her voice a low whisper. She told him to wait until the testing was over. She was right. They didn't have a single piece of evidence against me. Making a scene now was just a waste of breath. Even Lin Yan's usual crew started to pull him back. They told him that if I was a fraud, the next tests would show it. I could see the doubt creeping into their eyes. They were starting to suspect my S-class talent was the real deal. If Lin Yin kept this up, he'd only look like a desperate clown. I didn't give him the satisfaction of a glance. Lin Yan's expression shifted, a twisted sense of hope returning to his face. He liked that idea. He figured blood qi could be faked, but physical strength was a different story. You couldn't cheat your way through martial arts techniques. Those took years of sweat and blood to master. He followed the group, his eyes burning into the back of my head. He was convinced he'd watch me get exposed. He was certain the teachers would stop protecting me once I failed. He still refused to believe I had changed. In his mind, I was still a cheater.